Good evening, everyone, and welcome to round with an R, number 12 of season 18 in Division 3. We are here in Texas for the US Grand Prix at the Circuit of the Americas. A sprint weekend as well, the second sprint race of the season. We've got one more coming up later on at round 17, second to last round at Abu Dhabi. So we go into this race with a reverse championship grid. We're just waiting for flavors to join, and then we can get going. So on pole position for today will be the Kaiser. He is last in the standings of the drivers who are eligible for the reverse grid. Following him is Gilles Valentine in second, then Harley in third, Action Rig in fourth, Marcelio fifth, Always sixth, Dylan seventh, Bazooka in eighth, then Edwin in ninth, and Maxi running on top 10. And then we have our championship contenders in Mihai 11th, Viral 12th, and Flavors in 13th. And there's Flavors in the lobby now as well. And then Brian in P14, since we have a rule: if you have done 2 or less races, you start from the back, because if a new driver joins and is like really fast and then doesn't have any points, they start from the front and just win. So that's a bit silly. So any drivers who haven't really raced enough, just have to start from the back. But other than that, it's a reverse championship grid, mostly. We have another rule actually: if you have done less than half of the races, we take your points per race tally and calculate where you would be if you raced every race, assuming you kept the same points per race, and then we place you based on that. But in essence, it's a reverse championship grid with a bit of overcomplication to keep the grid interesting and fair and have no one start way higher than they should. And we can get going. For today, I am also on my own, unfortunately. Numi has fallen ill, so you have to deal with me commentating Division 3 alone for another week, but hopefully by next week Numi will be recovered and available again to join me. So then, normally I'd be like just getting into the mood now, qualifying, but no. We're jumping straight in, of course. We have a formation lap, and that's it. A 25% race around COTA first, which decides also the grid for the main Grand Prix. And there are some points on offer for this one as well. So this is a very, very crucial qualifying event, I guess. Yeah, because it's the only time where you get both points and a starting position in the season. So, yeah, and of course, if you are good at a track that we have as a sprint race, it's double chance to score good amount of points. The race winner here taking 12 points, so it essentially is like half a race win. 9 for second, 7 for third, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 down to P8. So the top 8 get points in these sprint races. Unlike the main race where it's the top 10, of course, as we know from the usual Formula 1 point system. Sunny skies, it looks like, for COTA. We'll see if any of the drivers report any rain, though, coming later in the race. All dry, okay. So we can expect some good racing. No wet weather to throw any spanners in the works, and we'll see who can come out on top. It's going to be, of course, very unpredictable with this reverse championship grid. I mean, if we want to have a quick look at the grid here, Gilles Valentine, Harley, I would say, are drivers who have got pace but have been consistent at times, which is why they are starting so far at the front. Then, of course, you've got guys like Dylan, who's in 7th. He hasn't raced every race, but he's just over the 50% mark, so he's sort of gotten quite nice there. And then, of course, the guys, we haven't got that big of grid today, which, of course, is an advantage for the championship leaders, since they don't have to go through as many cars. So the likes of Mihai, Viral, Flavors will become a factor for sure. Aussie missing this race as well, quite crucial. Really damping his title hopes, especially because there are points on offer twice today. Of course, we're expecting one stops. Fairly simple. It's only a 14 lap race, so you'd have to be having some insane tire wear to have to do a two-stop. In the main race, I think two stops could be an option, but the one stop is definitely possible and definitely the better strategy as well, I would say. So I expect one stop there as well. And why is Flavors pinging me? What's going on? No, you can't do zero stop. You've never been able to zero stop in 25% races. How do you play this game for like 2 years and don't know? There we go. 5 red lights. We are ready for lights out, and it is lights out, and away we go here at COTA. And Gilles Valentine with a great start. I think it's about to take the lead down towards the first corner. Yes, indeed, Gilles Valentine takes the lead on the inside. Harley already down to 5th and 4th. There's a few cars there. Oh, there's a Mercedes way off the apex, going quite deep, and some wing damage in the first corner. The Kaiser actually taking back the lead of Gilles Valentine at the first corner while I was spectating in the background. Marcelio following closely in 3rd place, and that is Harley trying to get back through on him up to 3rd, and he does make that move work. Maxi, oh, there's a huge battle here, look at that. 2x2x2. 6 cars all very close together, and that is Brian, I think, going straight on at the X station and bringing out a yellow flag. As Gilles Valentine is going for the lead of the race again, trying to get past the Kaiser, but he's sort of messed up, it looks like, and now Harley is going to try and come at him down this long straight, and they might go 3 wide here for the lead of this Grand Prix. Gilles Valentine takes lead, and Harley gets past Kaiser as well. Harley look up the inside, but decides better off it. Azuka having a look inside of Marcello as well, and look at that battle once again. That's Edwin, Mihai, Action Rig, all hugely close together. This is a horrible camera. What's going on here? Viral now getting through on Action Rig, and maybe Flavors as well. Trying to get past him here in this 3rd sector, and there's big wing damage on the wheels of Mihai, and that's always, I think, Action Rig. Action Rig is around. As now Flavors drops behind Mihai and Viral, and Mihai trying his best to hold on with that huge damage. Marcelo getting past the Kaiser in the battle for 3rd, and there goes Mihai completely straight on, of course. That damage really dampening his chance in this race. He's going to have to pit and try and go to the end from here. Really his only chance of salvaging as much as possible. Same for Always. They're both going to pit, probably go for hearts and try and make the end. Well, they'll make the end rather easily, but they have to make up a lot of time with that wing damage and wing change they have to do now. So after the first lap, it's Gilles Valentine leading from Harley and then Marcelio. The Kaiser held on to 4th place, and he's followed by the Haas of Bazooka. The top 6 all on soft, and then P7 and downwards on the mediums. Always Action Rig, Mihai all in the pits on the first lap. Edwin already with a track limit penalty, only 2 laps into the Grand Prix. Is it a Grand Prix? No, it's not. And Dylan, with a bit of a wobble there, invites Maxi and Edwin up the inside and drops down to 8th with one little mistake. Of course, in these sprint races, everyone's trying to make up as many places as possible, as early as possible. And in the background, Edwin and Dylan going side by side as Bazooka is going for the move on the Kaiser. Marcelio putting pressure on Harley for 2nd place here as well. Trying to go up the inside at the end of the DS section, but Harley holds on to the place. There's Maxi trying to get past Kaiser, but he hasn't quite got the run there, it looks like. And the Kaiser holds on the 5th. Dylan having a look up the inside on Edwin. And the gap closing throughout the corner, and now Viral is right there. Trying to swoop around the outside. As Maxi has gotten past Kaiser now, it looks like they're side by side. Kaiser's pulled back ahead. And here's Edwin on the inside of Maxi, but has to back out as well. Unbelievable how close it is at the moment. So many cars going side by side absolutely everywhere. Trying my best to keep all the action on. That's Edwin going completely deep at the second to last corner, taking the IndyCar line there. Gilles Valentine driving away from Marcelio in the background, who has just gotten past Harley. 1.5 seconds clear, Gilles Valentine right now, doing a great job at the start of this race to put himself in the spot for the race win. And that is Dylan and Viral battling over 8th, as Maxi and the Kaiser once again a battle, and Edwin going way off the track again at turn 1. And now Viral gets past him. Dylan with a 3-second time penalty already as well. Lap 3, 1 warning per lap. Dylan really in a tough spot here, and his car is not steering like at all. Is he on default setup or something? And Edwin again off track, and I think he's got some wing damage, would explain his struggles. And there is a spinner up ahead, and that is Harley, who's round. And now, oh, Dylan and Edwin make contact at the intersection. Dylan and Edwin both into the wall. Up ahead, that is the Kaiser trying to defend from Flavors in the battle for P6. And there's a full course safety car out on track, as I believe there was another spinner by Always. So multiple crashes happening all at once, all over the track. Brings out a safety car. No one DNF'd, but there is a few cars with wing damage. And I would expect absolutely everyone to the pit lane. I mean, we already had this in Monza. There was a safety car before we even reached turn 1, but this is a very similar situation. When you have a safety car in a 25% race, just pit. Just pit and go to the end. Don't even think about it. I'd be very surprised if the people haven't learned from Monza, where I think we saw like half the field actually stay out and completely ruin their races by doing so. Of course, it is quite shit, especially for someone like Brian. He's right behind his teammate, and his teammate is going to have to make a wing change as well. And similar situations for Flavors is fairly close behind Bazooka. Viral, of course, is not that far away from Jill's Valentine. So yeah, everyone is going to have to double stack here. Everyone has to come in. It's just way too much time lost to pit under green flags. And Edwin goes into the back of Flavors, gets a 10-second penalty. And the Kaiser gets a penalty as well, 10 seconds for a collision with Flavors. Which I think they'll have to serve in the pit lane here, so that won't even be removed by the stewards, I would assume. Brian actually staying out, not choosing to go for double stack. Jill's Valentine comes out in second, then Marcelio third. Bazooka, then Maxi, Viral, the Kaiser, Flavors, Edwin. And we've got Harley ahead of Dylan, with Mihai in 12th. Back in the pits for the second time now. And always again with wing damage. And also in the pit lane. That only leaves Action Rig, who hasn't got any damage, so he might stay out as well. We'll see what he ends up doing. I think he might be ahead of Always if he stays out, so it could be worth it to get at least the one car worth of track position. But Brian putting himself in a tough spot there, I would say. The only car now who has to make a pit stop in this race, still under green flag conditions, and Edwin getting a Edwin! And Harley! What, lads! Also, Edwin, what are you doing? Would you at least try and stay on the track? No wonder he's getting track limit penalties under Zetka. He's literally going off track every corner for some reason. And now overtaking under safety. What, Edwin? What the fuck are you doing? Can you be normal? He did like this nonsense last week as well, and I don't know. I didn't raise an issue about in the Discord, but this is genuinely like silly. Why? The safety car should be in by the end of next lap, and then we'll have a 9-lap sprint to the end. Sprint within the sprint. Viral already up to 6. He's had the best run so far for our 3 title contenders. Flavors not far behind him, but he has got the Kaiser that he has to contend with. So for Flavors, it will be crucial to get past Kaiser and yeah, stay with Viral. Mihai down in 12th has a lot of work to do. Of course, they are, well, I mean, essentially, in terms of the result screen right now, he would already be right behind Viral. But the problem for him is, of course, with all the penalties, so it would be Viral, Flavors, and then Mihai. But he still has to get past these cars before he can, you know, make any more moves at the front. And Viral can immediately have a look at Maxi and get himself more points and a better grid position off the bat. Mihai first has to pass cars he's basically already beaten before he can make actual progress. Brian actually pitting the lap after everybody else, and that means to come out in P13. So I think he would have been better off taking double stack, even with Harley having the wing damage, or maybe he would have ended up in pretty much exactly where he is right now. Maybe he would have been ahead of Action Rig. I'm not too sure. That means Jill's Valentine now back in the lead, and everybody on a tire to go to the end. We've got 10 seconds for Kaiser, 16 for Edwin. So the 10-second penalties they got in the pit entry actually not being served. And then 3 each for Harley and Dylan. We have a look at the tire graphic now as well. We've got a fairly even split of hards and mediums, and I do think the hard is a better tire to be on. It's just all of those guys who were running on the medium off the start, of course, have to go for another hard to make the end. The soft was not going to last the whole time. So, the safety car has been called in, and we're back on the way. This lap as Edwin, I think, has just been jumped by Flavors. Since he, yeah, that's the karma for constantly going off track, you did. So, Jules Valentine now controlling the pace, and can decide when he wants to go for the restart here. Safety car is back in the pit lane, and I think he's gone just before the final corner. And he has got Marcello fairly well off guard there, but Marcello is not that far behind. Marcello could definitely have a look at the turn 1 if he has better straight line speed. I'm not sure what the wing setups are for the two of them, but Marcello a bit too far back. And there is no real movement anywhere in the top 10 or anywhere in the continental field, really. Everybody's staying very calm in the first corner, unlike that first start. Settling into a rhythm, Jules Valentine leads the way for Marcello, Bazooka, then Maxi and Viral. As Dylan and Harley battle over 9th and 10th. And Harley goes deep, and that means Mihai is going to swoop around the outside as well. Easy and Harley's round as they make contact. And as they bang wheels, bang side pods, it sends Harley's car into a spin. That is him, unfortunately, down to 14th now. As Mihai looking to continue his charge against the two Aston Martins, up the instead of Dylan, but Dylan himself turns the fence into attack and gets past his teammate, the Kaiser, who goes off the track on the exit, and Mihai also slipping through. Bazooka now with the run on Marcello. The battle for second here. Marcello, of course, on the hards. He's going to have a tough time on this restart. The tires will be cold, but they might come into their own later. As Bazooka now goes through on the inside, nothing really Marcello can do to defend that one, and Jules Valentine already second clear. That is Edwin going off the track after the long straight, and Dylan with the switchback on the exit goes right through. And Mihai could be next as he goes up the inside. And look at that, now 3 wide in the middle of the corner, and they all make contact. Dylan off the track, Edwin I think with wing damage, as he was locked in the middle, and Dylan might have wing damage as well. Yep, the front left end plate on Dylan's Aston Martin is gone. And that I would say was questionable driving. And another 3-second time penalty now from Edwin as Kaiser gets back past his teammate. Dylan has to go into the pit lane, so damage seems to be quite bad on his end. Once again, Edwin off track. He genuinely can't stay within the white lines for even a single corner. And Dylan retires from the sprint race. He's going to have to start from the back of the field in the main race. Actually leaves as well. Maybe they're going to do some more practice, or maybe he's just rage quit and doesn't want to race anymore. We'll see if he comes back from the main race. Rival there, going past Marcello, coming to the S section. Up into 4th place. Marcello keeping up with him quite nicely. Might try and come back at him later on. He has got another one of the title contenders right up behind him though in Flavors, as Edwin and Kaiser both get more track limit penalties. Edwin now up to 25 seconds. He's actually like well on his way to being disqualified in a 25% race, which is genuinely like incredible. As Harley has made the pass on his teammate Brian for 12th, trying to come back towards the train, maybe gets himself at least a few more places on the grid if he can't get himself some points here. Flavors with a run on Marcello now. We'll take the inside line, and the same goes for Viral up ahead on Maxi. Flavors with that wing damage does get past Marcello, and Viral is going to get past Maxi as well, yes. Both championship contenders making up places. Mihai also now in the back of Marcello. He has caught up to this train quite nicely, dispatched of many of the drivers that he was stuck behind with track limit penalties, and now he can start making progress. Viral with a 3-second time penalty. That is absolutely crucial for a championship fight, as currently that would put him behind Marcello into 7th. Marcello turning trying to hold on against Mihai, who swoops from around the outside into the second to last corner. And Mihai up into 6th. Marcello down towards 7th now. Maxi has lost the ES to Viral. Viral is going to have to try and get a 3-second gap to everybody else behind if he wants to keep that 3rd place. It's looking quite good for Jules Valentine. Not many laps to go. Bazooka 1.7 seconds back. The fight far from over, but at the moment Jules Valentine has got no one in his DRS, as Harley has made the move on Action Rig. Up into 12, continues his comeback. So Jules Valentine. Edwin, how? You got a penalty only last lap, how is this possible? Yeah, disqualified. Who would have thought? That's honestly quite poor, I don't know what to say. Because I know that Edwin can drive like a normal person, so I think he's just completely taken the piss in this race for some reason. Which, yeah, I don't really understand what Edwin's up to. But we'll focus on the drivers who are actually trying to have a race here, as Flavors is closing in on Maxi in the battle for 4th here. And of course this is crucial as well against Rival, as they both need to stay within 3 seconds of him to get the grid spot and the points. That of course they're going to want to take Maxi for the Constructors Championship. Sauber very much in the fight for that, and even with Othi not here, Maxi can try his best to keep him in the fight as Flavors and Mihai both try and go up the inside on Maxi. And 3 into 1, we saw it earlier as well with, I believe it was Edwin, Dylan and Kaiser who had the same similar situation, but 2 people tried to go for a move at once and just ended in tears as they were both, trying to go into the same gap. And the same happened just now between Flavors, Mihai and Maxi, as Maxi now gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit warnings, and we've got a yellow flag for Harley. Once again, round second to last corner this time, but he has recovered quite nicely to at least keep P11. So Mihai now trying to make the move on Flavors. Flavors, of course, with some wing damage, so he is going to be slowing Mihai down quite a bit here, especially through this edge sector if Mihai doesn't get this move done. And Mihai has got the move done. Mihai up into 4th, and now 2.3 seconds to Viral. Can he get that 3rd place of Viral? Can he get those points off him? Can he get that grid spot in the top 3 as well? It is looking quite good for Jules Valentine and Bazooka to keep their positions. They've got 4 seconds Bazooka to Mihai, Jules Valentine 2 seconds to Bazooka. And Viral in between has got a penalty, so he's not in the fight for the win. So it is Jules Valentine against Bazooka in that top 2. And right now Jules Valentine has got Bazooka at a bit of a safety net gap. Sendio picking up a 3-second time penalty, which could cost him P7 and put him down towards the last points paying position in 8th. Maxi on the back of Flavors here. Flavors, of course, with that damage, struggling especially through these tight sections and the S section. And now there's contact and Maxi is around. As Maxi was trying to go for a move on Flavors, runs out of room. Rejoins the Grand Prix in P9, out of the points for Maxi. Rather unfortunate, he was driving a very decent race. Was on to get some good points for Sauber, but just like that, all of a sudden it can go so quickly in these sprint races to go from a pretty good position, fighting for 4th, fighting for 5th. All of a sudden, no points for Maxi. As Harley, once again, the second to last corner, doesn't really like that one it seems, is round. And Flavors struggling at the moment. He can't hold on to the back of Mihai. He's got Marcelio and Overwise chasing from behind. And he's going to struggle to hold on to 5th place. Of course, Marcelio has got a track limit penalty, so that plays into Flavors' cards. But Overwise, he's here. And he hasn't got a penalty. So he is the one that Flavors has to watch out for, coming towards the end of this Grand Prix. Another battle going on is for 10th place between Action Rig and Brian. 2 of them coming out in this long straight quite close together, and DRS now, of course, for the McLaren. And he's going to try and close in, get that 10th position of Action Rig. Is he close enough? Closing in, up the inside, he is close enough. Breaks early, Action Rig locks up though and goes straight on. That allows Brian to go back up the inside, and now side by side heading to the last sector. And Brian swooping around the outside, Action Rig, can he come back at him on the exit? Not quite. Settles in for P11 once more. But the S-One's coming up. This battle far from over. Action Rig can definitely have another go for P10. Harley closing in from behind after his spin last lap. Trying to get back towards top 10. Once again though, almost round that second to last corner. I think he's locking the rear tires or something. And now the Kaiser and Maxi battling over 8th. Maxi getting through on the inside. Back up into the points. And with the time penalties, yeah, that position already was Maxi's, but now it's the, also his out on track. Always closing in towards back of Marcelio. And if he wants to get Flavor still, he has to get Marcelio really this lap to bridge that gap to Flavors and then also pass him. Otherwise, he won't have enough time left, I would say. Out front, we're looking at still Jules Valentine and Bazooka 1-2. No battles within the entire top 5. As Mihai is looking to beat Viral on track limit penalties. And here's Always with the overtake against Marcelio. Secures himself 6th spot out on the road. 1.5 seconds now to Flavors. With Flavors having wing damage, can Always go after him and get himself into the top 5. He has a good chance for sure. And here's Action Rig indeed coming back at Brian in the battle for 10th. Breaks early on the inside though, locks up the tires, and all of a sudden there's Harley actually getting involved now. Jasper struggling at the rear of the car, he's being quite cautious on these corner exits. Marcello picking up another track limit penalty now, further dampening his chances and maybe even putting him in arm's reach of Maxi, who has to gain another 2 seconds now in these next 2.5 laps to get 7th place of Marcello. Because we know Maxi, he has 3 seconds, right? Yeah, so yeah, Maxi has a chance there to get back into 7th at least after his spin earlier after the collision. And the McLaren's still looking the battle with Action Rig. Action Rig goes very deep into the first corner, and that allows Harley to smooth through, take advantage of the mistake. Action Rig will try and keep his nose into here into the S section. Harley has the inside line down, that could be the advantage he needs. Yep, Action Rig can't stay alongside. And gets a technical penalty as well there as he went slightly over the white line. Harley taking P11. But then a spin! Only a few corners after he makes a pass on Action Rig. A really weird spin. And I can only guess he locked the rears or something. I don't know. I've never seen a car spin so violently through there. So, like immediately, you know. Bazooka on the hunt for Jules Valentine. Sees a chance for a race win here still. 1.7 seconds a gap right now. And if you can get within that 1 second on the last lap, anything will be possible. So for these guys, it's absolutely crucial to avoid mistakes at all costs. Flavors can't avoid mistakes at all costs. Gets himself a 3-second penalty, and that will drop him behind Always. Action Rig had a spin, I believe. Putting him once again a lot closer to Harley. Stadio and Always at the moment. The main battle out on track. Always not closing in on Flavors, rather the other way around. Flavors driving away from him. So maybe Flavors can secure that 5th place even with the 3-second time penalty. Especially, of course, now the mediums, I think, getting into some old age, showing somewhere. And that will slow Always down, that will slow Bazooka down as he has almost been caught by Viral. Of course, Jules Valentine as well, but he should be safe where he is. The Kaiser also is not really battling anyone. It's Action Rig and Harley only battling each other. They are both on medium, so for them it doesn't particularly affect them. Of course, it makes the car harder to drive, but the direct opponents are in the same scenario. We've got another yellow flag, and Harley this time is a round out of the sprint race in the S section. A real shame how his race has gone. Started off quite well, was fighting in the top 3. But then just, yeah, kept going around and around. I'm really... I guess he completely overheated the tires, and then, you know, that's why he kept spinning more and more. Which is, I think, a pattern he's had quite a few times this season now. When he sort of starts off well, then has one spin, and then just keeps spinning. Rival is now in the AS range to Bazooka. As Maxi gets himself another penalty, and that secures 7th for Marcello. Maxi wasn't closing in that much anyway. But Rival now in the DRS range to Bazooka, but it won't matter with Rival's time penalty. He will finish in 4th and behind Mihai. Always and Flavors still locked in a time trial battle there, and Flavors, of course, could hope for some help from Marcello. If Marcello starts battling Always and they slow down, gets Always out of 3-second range to Flavors, players will surely enjoy that. As Brian is caught up in the back of the Kaiser as well, coming in this last lap, but that position will be his, regardless of what happens on the track, since the Kaiser has got 16 seconds of penalties, 10 seconds from the safety car incident, I believe, where he made contact in the pit lane with Flavors. And Viral now up the inside of Bazooka towards the end of this long straight, and he is going to take 2nd place. Bazooka, I think, yeah, not really trying to fight that. He just is happy to bring this car home in 2nd place. And Jules Valentine now heading into the last sector. He's had a bit of a quiet race actually, but that's a good thing. He's had a great race. Started, I believe, in 3rd, and yeah, made great use of that starting position in this sprint race. got into the lead early on and simply drove away, never to be seen again. Viral is now catching up to him, but it's too little too late, and Viral is going to bring the car in second over the line. Jills Valentine, though, leads Red Bulls home for 1-2 on track, as Viral is going to drop to 4th place, there Bazooka in second, and then Mihai in third, with Flavors in 5th, 6th, 5th, 6th. Always just about beats Flavors on 1.5 tenths there, as they come out the last corner. Then Flavor 6th, Marcelio 7th, Max in 8th, and Brian has passed Kaiser out of track as well to take 9th place. And then with the the penalties that Kaiser has, he will finish behind Action Rig in P11. So that will be your grid as well. Jules Valentine on pole, followed by Bazooka, Mihai, Viral, Aussie, not Aussie, Always, sorry. Flavors, Marcelio, Maxi, Brian, Action Rig, the Kaiser, and then Harley, Dylan, and Edwin. Assuming we have the same drivers for the second race as we did for the first. We'll see if anyone else who missed the sprint turns up, or anyone who did the sprint doesn't turn up now. So here we have your full sprint result. Jules Valentine actually second on the grid, not third. And the fast lap of the race as well from him, so well, complete performance. And we'll see if you can carry that form in the main race, if you can hold on to that lead for any amount of time, or maybe even the full race. That is what I love about these sprint races. It it really spices up the order, you know? You get some, mainly for the sprint race, you have a great chance of someone else winning a race and then earning themselves a pole position as well from the main race, putting themselves in a great spot. And the entire field sort of, even after the sprint, stays jumbled up. It's not like everyone moved back to where they should be, or where they usually are, I should say. Um, there still is quite a few people out of position, higher up than they are usually, lower down than they are usually. So it creates a really interesting um, dynamic now for the main race. And I'm excited to see how it turns out. We've got guys like Dylan, Harley, Edwin, who are going to hope for a second chance to have a better Grand Prix than the one they just had. Hold on, I'll quickly get a screenshot of the stream for Marcelio for the results. Oh, for fuck's sake, it's not loading properly. Alright, we're ready for the main race here. Everyone gets another go, bite the cherry of COTA, this time for double the race distance, 28 laps. And we have got the same 14 that we had last time in the grid, exactly as we saw in the results from the sprint. And this time the strategy is going to be a bit more interesting as well, I would imagine. A lot more options to pick from. Medium hard, hard medium, medium hard hard, medium soft soft. I don't know. So it's actually not impossible, I think, but the soft does drop off very quickly. So I think if you are going to two-step, it's going to be two mediums or two hards and no softs. So back on the grid for a second time. We can have a look at the racetrack as well to see what tires people on. We've got Mihai on the hards right now, everybody else on the mediums. And here we go, full information up already. That was very quick. I thought people would take a lot longer than that to set everything up again. And indeed, Mihai the only one on the hards. Everybody else on the medium. And as you can see in the top bottom right, the hard actually is 2 steps harder than the medium. So that will make it even more of an advantage off the line for Mihai, but even more of an advantage later on, since he will have way less tire wear than everybody around him. But interesting that he's the only one who's gone for that strategy. I would have thought especially someone lower down might try something different. But the undercut is quite powerful around here. We'll see if it works out nicely for Mihai. But first, we'll have a race start. Anything can happen there. Jules Valentine lining up on pole, Bazooka alongside him. Then followed by Mihai and Viral Flavors in P6. Our 3 main guys to look out for the championship. 5 red lights. And for the second time today, it's lights out, and away we go. And for the second time today, Jules Valentine with a great getaway. Down towards turn 1, he's immediately well clear of Bazooka and holds on to lead as Mihai swoops around the outside into T1. All over the curb on the exit, and they're side by side down towards the S section. Bazooka going around the outside is yellow flag, and that is 2 McLarens who've had an incident, it looks like. Very reminiscent of the real-life COTA sprint. And Bazooka holds on against Mihai for second place. Flavors up into 5th, that's the only change in the top 5. As Dylan and Edwin get past the Kaiser, who's got big wing damage. The front right of the wing almost completely destroyed. And there's Edwin already putting pressure on the back of Dylan, who is quite far back from Overways for some reason. And that is Flavors going for the move on Viral and Mihai. And they are now all very close together down the straight. That's Bazooka, Mihai, Flavors, Viral, Maxi, all going for it. A 4-way battle down the straight, 5-way battle even. And Bazooka and Mihai come out alongside each other at the end of the straight with Viral and Flavors alongside each other behind them. Bazooka on the inside line, Mihai swooping around the outside, goes off the track, and Bazooka gets clear of him. Action has gone straight on the straight. And now Mihai and Viral locked in the battle. Viral has got the inside line for his long right hand, and that should be an advantage. No! Viral goes into the side of Mihai and is round and rejoins the Grand Prix in P8. No damage for him at least, but his race definitely damaged from that. The car is fine. And after all that, Jules Valentine already 2 seconds clear out in front. He is using this battle in behind to great effect. Dylan in the pit lane of the first lap. And so is the Kaiser. Both Aston Martins in for a pit stop, so a double stack. The Kaiser's going to lose loads and loads of time, and Dylan has to make a wing change as well. Yeah, both of them with a wing change. on the very first lap. And the same goes for Harley. Dylan actually retires from the race, and Harley gets a speeding penalty. So Dylan with back-to-back DNFs here. Not the weekend, not the weekend, it's not the weekend, not the evening he was hoping for at all. The Kaiser also out the race, Aston Martin, both of them giving up in the pit lane. Only a lap in. Rather sad to see. And Harley, is he being held in the pit lane? He used to stop for some reason. That was weird. And once again, the same group of drivers very close together here. Bazooka holds on against Mihai, Maxi holds against Flavors, no changes whatsoever. Viral catching up back of the train again now on the back of Owise and has to do it all over again really. Make his way through the pack. Harley coming out the pit lane on Hartz. He is, 35 seconds back. I think maybe Dylan retiring in the pits while there was two other cars in there as well, one of them being his teammates, messed something up. As Flavors and Maxi are side by side through this long flat right, and now Maxi almost around. And Marcelio has to look up the inside, backs out of it though. Goes really deep, and there's Always now. Way closer in than he was before. Jules Valentine, the fast lap of the race, continues to extend his lead in the front. This race is going great for him right now. And Viral is going to make the move on Always into turn 1, doesn't look like it. Or maybe he is, as Always goes for the center of Marcelio, goes deep, and there's Viral with the switchback on maybe both of them. No, not even one actually, as he gets a bit of wheel spin. Always with a great move on Marcelio then, and Viral stuck in behind 8th. For a moment I thought Viral would get them both and Always mess it up, but Always actually judged that quite nicely. No contact made, he made the corner just about, and he got the position. As Mihai is now practically pushing Bazooka through the air section. Jules Valentine already 3 seconds clear. Mihai so low on the DRS though, and that's going to make it tough for him to overtake against Bazooka, even though he's going to have DRS, but Bazooka doesn't. Bazooka has got 90% charge, Mihai is already out of ERS. And there's Viral, who's not the inside of Marcelio. And Bazooka, even though he's not got the DRS, he will just drive right back alongside Mihai. And there comes Flavors as well. And Mihai drops down to 3rd. Mihai though, the switch back on Bazooka, who's gone a little bit deep through the corner. And now Mihai has to hold it around the outside into this last sector. Turns to the inside for next corner, that will be the advantage for him. Bazooka, still there. Mihai has to leave in the room on the exit, but he's cleared him on traction. And Mihai up into 2nd place. Flavors and Maxi very close in behind though now. Viral has gotten past Marcelio. Back up to 7th. And Mihai with a track limit penalty already. Only 3 laps into the race. 3.5 seconds back from P1 on a overcut strategy. That is the worst possible thing for him to happen right now, a track limit penalty. Really did not need that. And there's Flavors getting past his teammate Bazooka. Bazooka tried to hold on, but I think he's got a lot more wing on the car there, because Flavors drove past him like he wasn't even there. Bazooka covering the inside against Maxi, where sent a bit of a dummy, tried to switch back then throughout the corner. But Bazooka had that covered quite nicely. A very good defense there against Maxi, holds on to 4th. Nothing he could do against Flavors, but nothing Maxi could do against Bazooka. 3-second penalty now to Marcelio as well, the 2nd penalty in this race already. Track limit penalty, I should say. And we are only 4 laps in. 2 of our main Champion 2 contenders, Mihai and Flavors, already up on the podium. Mihai, though, with the track limit penalty, will drop him currently all the way behind Viral in 7th. Viral himself has to get a move on here. Get past Always, get back up to the fight where he was earlier before he had that little moment, little spin. And Jules Valentine, you can see him just there on your screen, way out in front. Had a great start in this race. The question is, can he manage that gap? I mean, of course, these guys who are chasing him have proven their speed all throughout the season, but Jules Valentine already drove a great sprint. So this could be a good track for him, a good week. Seems to be in good form. And once you have that gap, you know, it's a lot easier to manage a gap like that than it is to get it. So he's done the hard part. Now we'll see if he has the race pace to keep it up, or if the guys will slowly get back up towards him. The gap is 3 seconds, so it's not impossible to overcome at all. Especially if they start working together in any way, but that's unlikely seeing the way this train has been going so far. But even then, if you're faster, making up 3 seconds over 23 laps is definitely possible even without any DRS games. So Viral goes up the inside on Owise into the first corner, and Owise Not sure if he missed his breaking point maybe a tad, because he is new to racing with absolutely no assists, so that also means no racing line. And I think I'm not sure if you used ABS before, but it would be a lethal combination if you turn off both at once. Even one is quite difficult, and would be a good explanation for missing your breaking point in that scenario. And there's a yellow flag. That's Harley again with a spin, and that's really, really a shame to see. This race unraveling once more. He's now way back from the field. Already was, of course, but at least he had the hope of people pitting and getting close to him. Now even that seems fairly unlikely. And Flavors getting his teammate Bazooka out of DRS range. Harley has crashed in the pit entry. That's a full call safety car being deployed, and all of a sudden this race has turned upside down. And that is probably quite horrible for Mihai. The other guys, can they make the end actually? It's really interesting timing for a safety car. I wouldn't be confident I could make a hard last this long. I think I could make it last, but it wouldn't be, you know, easy. Have to do a bit of management and be a bit in trouble at the end. So Jules Valentine's in, Mihai is out, Flavors in, Bazooka in, so we have to double stack, so we'll come out behind Maxi, Rival, always a margin at least, maybe even more. And it looks like absolutely everyone into the pit lane. The only ones who aren't yet are Brian and Action Mick, who haven't reached the entry yet, so we'll see if they pit. A double stack at Haas, a double stack at Ferrari. So time loss there for Bazooka and for Edwin. Edwin onto the softs, and Bazooka onto another set of the mediums. Surprisingly. So Bazooka's gonna have to stop again, and the same goes for Edwin. His tire will not make the end. Bazooka's tire legally can't go to the end. Action Rick and Brian into the pit lane as well. And that is hearts for Brian and also hearts for Action Rick Iron. Yep. So Mihai now leads the way on 5-lap-old hard tires. Can't make the end from here. He hasn't stopped yet. He needs to make a pit stop in this race. Jules Valentine, Flavors, Maxi, Viral, Always, Marcelio, Brian and Action Rick, I think, have a chance to go to the end. They are going to need to manage that tire. Of course, a few laps of safety car running plays into their cards, so the longer the safety car stays out, the better for them. Since they need less racing laps and therefore less tire wear on their tires, because they do put some wear as well under safety car, but of course nowhere near as much as they would under racing conditions. Bazooka literally also is not allowed to make the end. He's in the same spot as Mihai in that sense, since he hasn't used two different tire combos yet. Edwin is allowed to go to the end, but if he does 23 laps on softs, I think he'll have about 10 punctures on only 4 tires, so that's not really an option for him. So then, everyone has caught up to the train. Action Rick, well, yeah, is gonna catch the train any moment now. So the safety car will be called in this lap. And then Mihai will hold the restart. He's warming those tires up quite aggressively right now. And for good reason. He needs to get a good restart here. Hold on to that first place as much as possible. And then, yeah, I mean, Mihai is in a very tough spot here. I think his main hope here could be that everybody else has to stop as well again, and that they don't make the end. Safeguard indeed in this lap. But even if Mihai's tires, even if Jules Valentine's, Flavors, Maxi's, Virals, Always' Marcelio's tires can't make the end, they still have a tire advantage over Mihai now. And he is going to have a tough time holding on to those places, and then even more so for Edwin on those softs, Bazooka on the mediums. So, yeah, Mihai at a disadvantage in terms of tires to the entire field right now, even down to Brian and Action Rick. But he has got track position out of this. He was already second, so that isn't really much of a track position to gain there, but it's something. It's a tough choice there from him if he could have gone for the mediums as well, to 2 stops at the end from there. But he is in this scenario now. He's going to have to make the best of it. He starts the race at the last corner, and he is caught Jules Valentine quite nicely off guard. He's well cleared out towards turn 1 and will hold on to the lead rather easily. And in behind Rival, maybe against Maxi. Nah, a bit too far back. Edwin, of course, on the softest one to look out for. Currently right in back with his teammate Marcelio, and yeah, look at that. The grip difference is very apparent. Dries past Marcelio and dries past Always like they're not even there. Of course, that's even more of a difference off the restart, since the hards will be very cold and the softs don't need as long or as much work to warm up and as much temperature in them. So Edwin, yeah, was always likely to make a great start, and he has made a great start, immediately jumping up to 6th from 8th. As Marcelio now gets past Always as well. Bazooka in a similar spot to Edwin, not quite as extreme, but the mediums also, of course, will be better, both in general, they are softer, and on tire warm-up, have an easier time being warmed up, and there he goes, past Always. Edwin now already on the attack of the next car against Viral. Up into the top 5 it looks like. And he outbreaks the Red Bull man with ease. Or does he? I didn't even get Maxi, yes. It looks like it, because on the exit, look at that. Edwin is up so many places already. Now Viral slipping through on Maxi, has a little wobble. And is alongside now. And ahead. Maxi losing 2 places in 2 corners there. And Edwin up from 8th to 4th in 1 lap. Up next, Flavors, Jules Valentine, Mihai. Can he even come out in the lead? Can the strategy actually work out quite nicely for Edwin? I'm surprised to see him on the softs, but it's worked out really, really well. Now the big question is, he puts a fast lap of the race in as well by making all those moves. Absolutely crazy. Oh, that's Always! No, Action Brake, sorry. With a spin at the last corner. Puts himself in the wall and wing damage on the car. And with that, he puts himself far away from the field. Everybody else locked in the fight for the top 10 positions. And Jules Valentine gets a 3-second time penalty in the effective lead of the Grand Prix. And just like that, his fight for the win, yeah, out of his hands now, I would say. Mihai actually doing a great job out front, driving away from him as it stands. And now Jules Valentine under pressure from Flavors. Gets really close in the braking there. So it's unlikely to be the win now for Jules Valentine. We'll see what he can still salvage. He's still in a very good position. And I think he actually had an amazing exit coming from the straight, and he will hold on to 2nd out on track. Edwin's softs, I think, are already showing signs of wear, as he's not really getting much closer to Flavors. Maxi and Bazooka battling for 6th here. And Bazooka with the tire advantage makes great use of it and goes up into 6th, gets past Maxi. Always Marcelio also locked in the battle for 8th here. Always slightly ahead into braking zone. Marcelio looking for the switchback, but Always gets the car stopped very nicely and holds on to the position. Marcelio can't get back underneath him. Now Edwin closing in again. So the softs are not over quite yet. Fast lap the race now from Bazooka on those mediums. And Mihai 1.3 seconds clear out front. And he needs that. He needs to get away from these people if he can. But I'm surprised he's able to. His tire should be a bit worse. Marcelio has gotten back past Always into turn 1. As they tap front to rear wheel, which is quite a dangerous thing to do in this physics system, but they, thankfully for them, got away with that one. no death for either driver. Action brake in the pit lane now. Getting that wing change, I would imagine. 18 laps to go. Probably lost of the hard tires in this as well. And with that, we are down to 10 cars. Everybody still running is going to get at least 1 point. Provided they don't pull an Edwin and get disqualified. Jules Valentine able to hold against Flavors down the straight, and seems he's got way lower wings, I would imagine. But that means Flavors has got way better braking. And gets the car stopped and gets ahead of Jules Valentine. Great move by Flavors. And here comes Edwin now, closing in, and he's got those soft tires to use. Can he also pull a similar maneuver to Flavors? He should have more grip under braking, should have more stopping power. And if he also has more downforce, that effect is even more multiplied. Jules Valentine definitely running lower wings than everybody else. You could see it on the straight, even with the Flavors wasn't really closing in all that much. But Edwin understeering like a boat in the second to last corner. And there's Rival right up underneath him. Are those softs already gone? And if they are, Viral needs to get around Edwin, stay with Flavors, and yeah, get people out of his 3-second penalty range. Both Red Bulls with penalties hanging over their heads. They should be in the fight for the win, but right now, Flavors, yeah, in a great spot here. Mihai out front is a penalty, and he has to pit again. Jules Valentine and Viral have got penalties. Edwin has to pit again. Bazooka has to pit again. So Jules Valentine's, Flavors' next opponent really is Maxi down in 7th. And Edwin, a very weird spot to have a mode reverse there, but he did. And that means Viral slips through. Was that a DRS game maybe? Maybe it was. He has got DRS on Viral. Viral hasn't got DRS on anyone. Maxi and Bazooka also not too far behind. And actually Edwin might have to look behind at Bazooka, who has a little look under braking, has to back out there in the end as he was nowhere near significantly alongside, and if he had to commit to that, there would have quite likely been a crash. So that was good avoidance and good racing intelligence from Bazooka not to go for that move. As Flavors has gapped Jules Valentine from DRS, proving his pace, proving why he is one of the favorites for this championship. 1.5 seconds to Mihai and a 5-lap tire advantage. Mihai has to pit at some point in the next, I'd say in about 5 laps or so is a good pit stop window, maybe a bit later. The safety car now coming out as well, or having come out, sorry. And Edwin's softs are definitely dropping off as he's over a second back from Viral. And now Bazooka and Maxi staring at the back of Edwin. Bazooka going a little bit deep, and Maxi, if he has a good exit now, try and go around the outside maybe. Still there, still alongside into the SS, doesn't back out. Backs out in the end after all, just as I say, he wouldn't. And Bazooka has got 6 wrapped up, or has he? Yes. Or has he? He's gone very deep. Maybe Maxi, he has a way better line now. And Maxi having a look up the inside in the first part of the S section has messed Bazooka's whole S section up. And now Maxi has got a great chance. Down into this left-hander, out long straight. Viral gets past Jules Valentine for 3rd, and I think that was a teammate swap there. Didn't look like Jules Valentine put much of a fight in the distance. Viral passing him very early down the straight. And Nick was Bazooka against Edwin. And Maxi, will he follow through? I don't think so. Edwin actually trying to hold against Bazooka. As they make a little bit of contact mid-corner, Edwin actually pulls ahead. Bazooka goes deep, and there's Maxi now with a beautiful switchback. But Bazooka putting back ahead as Maxi gets caught behind Edwin. Bazooka going for the move on Edwin in the meantime. And they're now side by side into the long, flat-out right-hander. Slow move of Maxi here, who's got a great view of this battle. Bazooka trying to go all the way around the outside, turns to the inside for the second to last corner, and they make contact, and Bazooka's round, and Maxi just about avoids him. Marcelo gets past Bazooka as well, who rejoins the Grand Prix in 8th, just ahead of Oweiss. But that was, well, a great battle between Bazooka and Edwin, until it wasn't. And now Maxi on the back of Edwin. I said he's the first contender against Flavors, and now all of a sudden, with Edwin having to slow down so much from those used softs, the gap has opened up massively between Edwin and the Red Bulls out in front. So Flavors looking to be in a great spot to win this race. Maxi in the middle of the air section gets a run on Edwin. I don't think he expected that, and I certainly didn't. And there he is now going around the outside. Yeah, Edwin's tires are completely and utterly done. The problem is Maxi going for a move in an unorthodox spot now has given Edwin DRS down the straight, and that could mean another lap where he is stuck behind Edwin. The gap already up to 5 seconds. He's lost about 2 seconds in that last section. And Edwin, with how close he is, I mean, even though Maxi's got way more ERS, Edwin definitely has a chance, and a very good chance at that, to come back at him and get the position off him. Heading into the final sector, and Maxi brakes so much later around the outside. He wants that position now, and I think he will get it as he has the inside line. Edwin still trying his best to hold against it, but those tires, yeah, don't have a whole lot left. And Maxi gets 5th place. Finally, though, now the gap ahead is a whole 5 seconds. And Edwin now letting his teammate pass as well. Good teamwork there. Edwin knows he's only going to hold Marcelio up. There's no sense in getting in his way. Flavor's now on the back of Mihai. He's got absolutely no rush right now. Everyone around him has penalties. So he can only beat himself, really, if we have a quick look as well. What's Flavors up to in terms of penalties? 1 warning on the first lap, and that could be a collision warning. Nope, it's a track limit warning, okay. So he has got 1 more free. If he gets 2 more, he'll have a penalty. Compared to everybody around him. Mihai, Viral, Jules Valentine already have got penalties. And with his teammate Edwin's help, Marcelio now at the back of Maxi. And Edwin actually dropping out of the DRS range from Marcelio, so he's definitely helping him by holding up the field a bit. Not sure if that was the intention from the start, probably not. But that's what's happening right now. As Flavors with the DRS. Not a whole lot Mihai can do there, in fact nothing Mihai can do there. The straight line advantage with that DRS too big. And the Haas takes lead of this race. Now the big question is, will those tires last in the end? And if they don't, will anyone else's tires last in the end? It will be, I think, the deciding factor in this race. The tires. That safety car came at an awkward time for everyone. Mihai couldn't pit, everybody else did pit. Edwin and Bazooka definitely won't make the end. Everybody else in a bit of a limbo state. They have to sort of decide, and probably decide sooner rather than later, to be able to commit to either pushing or tire saving, if they can make it or not. I do think it would be faster if they can make it, but if you can't, you can't, and you have to pit again, and you'd rather, you know, actually use the tire then and push, and also probably pit earlier rather than later. So, you know, not go to like lap 25, then notice, shit, I can't make the end, then pit, and have no time left to make up the time. As Bazooka with the move on Edwin up into 7th. Edwin struggling so much on tires now, you can tell through the air section the car not really going anywhere in terms of rotation. So much understeer. And now he's got Owa is already right up the back of him. And he's about to lose another place. As I don't think he'll have DRS on Marcelio, will he? That's Bazooka, sorry. He will actually have DRS, but Owa has got way more ERS. So advantage always down the straight. Edwin going off into the grass as well, and that kills his exit, and that is the move very much done. Not a whole lot, well, nothing Edwin can do then. Which is something I've been saying way too much this race. I feel like I need to switch up my my sayings a bit more. Tend to repeat one until I feel like I've overused it, then I pick a new one and overuse that one. Flavors then, 1.6 seconds clear of Mihai now. Of course, Mihai with a tire disadvantage. He will be in the pit lane soon-ish, I reckon. Lap 16, lap 17 is sort of the normal pit stop window when you're doing a hard medium. So you might go a bit longer than that, let's say lap 18, with the safety car giving him a bit less tire wear on that hard. But Viral will try and get around him. Maxi closing in on Jules Valentine. Bazooka is back in the pit lane for the 2nd time now, and the same goes for Edwin. Of course, they have to pit again, they couldn't make the end. So they are now going for the undercut, essentially, against Mihai and against anyone else who might still have to pit. And it is going to be a question of tire saving. And a question of maybe even luck if the tire makes the end. Viral with his second 3-second penalty of the race now, up to 6 seconds of total penalties. At the moment it doesn't cost him anything, since he has got Jules Valentine just about outside 6 seconds. But it could cost him places at the end, and 6 seconds very likely is going to cost him places at the end. And therefore crucial points in the title fight as well. Mihai, is he far enough ahead as Edwin picks up a 3-second time penalty as he just came out the pit lane? Viral up the inside on Mihai. And they are still side by side next to this. Mihai has the better exit, he's got the inside line now. And if he gets good traction out of here, he does pull slightly ahead. Viral there, though on the inside, brakes later. Of course, he has got the tire grip advantage. And he uses it to get past. Viral into the top 2. And on the hunt to at least bring that P2 home. Flavors looking very, very good for a race win here. And Mihai is going to pit this lap. No, still keeps going. Marcelio and Maxi flying in formation. Marcelio with a 3-second time penalty. Yep, hanging over his head. Which currently doesn't cost him anything, but it might become close with the pit stoppers at some point. Not sure how much Bazooka and Edwin are catching. They've got 6 seconds to Brian, who's in for the second time as well though. So Brian has too much tire wear to make the end, he thinks. And he will come out in 10th once more. And now we get to see the gap from Bazooka to Always directly, which I think is very interesting. We see how much he can catch up. You can also have a look at the lap times. 18.2 seconds the gap right now. Bazooka, he only just came out the pit lane. Okay, compare sector 2. 39.5, 32.7. And then Always, 39.4, 32.2. So Always was actually faster. Oh, and Mia has gotten back past Viral. Did not expect that to happen whatsoever. In fact, I was so not expecting it to happen. I was happy to pause my game and check people's lap times. But Mihai actually not falling off as much as I thought he would on those old tires. Didn't pit. And in fact, Rio takes Red Bull back into second place. Of course, he still has that pit stop that he has to do. He hasn't made a single pit stop so far this race. There we go. The only one not to do so. And I think, yep, Mihai is now in. And that will be first into the mediums. That will bring him to the end of the race. He should come out between Always and Bazooka in 8th place, and we'll see what he can recover to. Because he's going to have a big tire advantage over everybody else. They are going to be on 12 lap old hards. He's going to have fresh mediums now to make use of. To charge back through the field. And Maxi within penalty range of Jules Valentine now. So as it stands, Maxi actually on the podium. And as I say that sentence, it no longer applies as he has dropped outside 3 seconds. But hovering in that range, and the battle for P3 at the moment definitely on. In terms of the penalty range that Jules Valentine needs to get of 3 seconds to Maxi. And Maxi trying his best to get within that, of course. Marcelio could become a factor in that if he starts battling Maxi. And Mihai, I reckon, will also become a factor in that. As he's 5 seconds back from Always, now 5 seconds then to Marcelio. So I think, yeah, 10 seconds, 10 laps. I reckon he can catch up to Marcelio and Maxi. If he can get back to Jules Valentine and Viral, at least in terms of back them out on track. Ooh, I doubt it. Making up a full pit stop in just 10 laps would have to be a gain of about 2 seconds a lap, really. So that is going to be tough for sure. But we'll see what he can do. Of course, the penalties for Viral and Jules Valentine will help him. And with Viral having 6 seconds actually, I believe. Yeah. It does put Maxi actually, I think, currently into P2. Incredibly. No, not quite, I think. Not quite. But it's close, and it's definitely possible for Maxi to finish second place in this race. He has gotten Marcellia out of the AS range now, which is very much crucial for him. Means he hasn't got to worry about having to battle him. Edwin now picking up the second time penalty of this race, yeah. For him, after 6 seconds now. And that is going to dampen his chances of beating Bazooka. And now another one. Already. 2 penalties in 2 corners. How's that even possible? I have no idea. Oh, that's why. Okay. We're back to this. Way off track at turn 1. Definitely warning there. At the entry of the air section. Can't really understand. I wonder if he's on default setup. If you've got to load it, because that looks horrendous to drive. That was definite warning on the apex of the S section exit. So I reckon next time he goes off track, we'll have another penalty up to 12 seconds. Maxi, 2.3 seconds back, only back from Jules Valentine now, so he's firmly within 3 seconds of him. And almost within 6 seconds of Viral. Mihai only 2 seconds back from Owais, he's caught very quickly. There will be a move for 6th sooner rather than later. Let's go on board there. I don't think he'll have him to turn 1, he's not quite close enough for that, but maybe on the run on the second DRS straight off the lap. The run into the 3rd sector. Fast lap the race, of course, from Mihai on those fresh tires only makes sense. Bazooka and Edwin, they are quite far back from the train, so I think the 2-stop for them won't be working out too nicely. For Mihai, probably also won't get back to where he was, into the top 2. But he will certainly get Owais, he should get Marcelio. And then Maxi maybe? And with, I mean, if he gets Maxi, actually P2 is not impossible. Thanks to the time penalties that people have got hanging over their heads. He's 17 seconds back. So he needs to gain essentially 11 seconds on Rival. That's not an impossibility. As he makes the move on Owais for the DRS zone even. Of course, he still gets the DRS as he was behind him at detection point. And that means Mihai is secured into 6th. Or is he? As Owais is close-ish behind him, but I don't think Owais wants to battle him here. Yeah, Owais playing it smart. He knows Mihai isn't his race and he hasn't got much hope of holding on for the position for the next 8 laps. So he would rather just settle in behind and let Mihai do his thing. Maybe Mihai can create a bit of carnage. I try to combine carnage and chaos. Some chaos up ahead when he continues to go through the field, as he will catch into Marcelio. Some point next lap, I reckon. Of course, he is absolutely flying against those mediums, on those mediums against those hards. Apologies. I can't talk at this point, I'm not sure what's going on. And Maxi almost in the DRS range to Jules Valentine. Now he's sped up quite a bit as Maxi, or Jules Valentine maybe struggling a bit more with the tires. In fact, we've gone to lap 21 with only Brian pitting off those hards to another set of the hards, or in general. Quite surprising to me. I thought more people would opt out early, but these guys seem to be committed to making the end, which I did say I think it's possible, but I wasn't confident that so I thought at least some more people than just one would have to pit again, and maybe they will have to. We'll see. There's still some left to go, but at this point, if they at this point they definitely are trying to make the end. If they wanted to do a 2-stop, they would have done it earlier. So if they do now, it's more a case of bailing out and saving what's left, rather than getting a puncture. And there's Mihai, with a rather easy overtake on Marcelio. Marcelio also not putting much of a fight, and Edwin now up to 12 seconds of penalties. And the next car from Mihai to get 3 seconds to Maxi, of course. 3-second penalty hang over Mihai's head, so essentially that is a 6-second gap needs to make up now. 3 seconds, pass him, another 3 seconds. So this battle between Valentine, Maxi and Mihai will converge in the next couple of laps as Maxi is closing in, ever so slightly, every single lap. Mihai is closing in rapidly. So we are going to have a battle for 3rd. Or essentially for 4th between Jules Valentine and Mihai. Maxi, without a track limit penalty, has got an advantage there. If we can have a quick look as well for Maxi, if he has any warnings. 1 warning on lap 3 and that's it. Flavors 5 seconds clear out in front, doing a great job of controlling this Grand Prix, and well on his way to another race win, which would make his title charge his title ambitions even more solidify. He's already won 4 races this season. This will be number 5. Viral only 2 points back from him. He would open that gap up a little bit more. Mihai 16 points back. So that gap opening up as it stands by another 15 points. If Mihai were to finish in 5th. But Mihai is still on the charge to get a podium out of this race. And he will have, I think, both Maxi and Jules Valentine on track. And the main thing, because I don't think he'll get 3 seconds to Maxi. I think Maxi is well on his way to a podium finish here. Viral actually is a lot further ahead than I thought he would be. He has currently got 6.8 seconds roughly, 7 seconds roughly to Maxi. So he is going to finish second as it stands. But of course, Mihai on these mediums will become a factor for that, I would imagine. If he can get past Maxi, and I think the more difficult part, get past Jules Valentine quickly. Surely Jules Valentine has got a lot of incentive to try and hold Mihai up and help his teammate. Another penalty now for Edwin, that's his 15-second penalty. So, 3 more of those, all of a sudden Brian is 9th, even though he's full pit stop behind him. And Maxi won't have the DRS of Jules Valentine on the next straight. And gets a 3-second time penalty. And that dampens his chance of a podium quite a bit, because that means Mihai now just has to go past him, and he's not going to pass Jules Valentine on penalties. And all of a sudden, Mihai, his chances of P2, or P3 at least in this race, have improved a lot. As here he comes with the DRS to the outside. And Maxi is going to try his best to hold on into the position. Breaks as late as he dares, makes the apex, but Mihai on the outside with a beautiful exit. And that's going to give him the place. Mihai gets himself a 4th place. And immediately has got the next target in sight. Jules Valentine on 17 lap old hards against 5 lap old mediums. So once Mihai gets him, which definitely is a when, not an if, he only needs to get another 3 seconds to Viral to get within the 3-second penalty range that the Red Bull man has got. And now Jules Valentine will try his best to help his teammate here to delay Mihai as long as possible, to help Viral hold on to 2nd place and hold on to 3 crucial points in a championship fight. But look how much later Mihai can break. And maybe... Nah, I mean, he's burning overtake, but he shouldn't. You shouldn't. And Mihai knows he shouldn't. He's gonna have to wait for the DRS zone. Of course, this is very frustrating. He's losing time head over fist in the Z section, being so close behind Jules Valentine in the dirty air. And the gap to Viral, you can see it opening up on the top left. But he has to bite this bullet. And then he will make the move down here after the detection point, get the DRS on the straight, and have defense against Jules Valentine. Jules Valentine has got a lot of ERS, so maybe he can fight back. Of course, it's going to close in now, but the DRS from Mihai opening now, and he starts pulling. And Mihai, Jules Valentine turns the ERS off as well. Mihai up into 3rd. And with the penalties for Jules Valentine and Mihai being the same, both of them on 3 seconds. Actually, the battle from 2nd to 7th, actually, they all have penalties, so it all turns out to be exactly the same. The penalties all don't matter because everybody else has penalties as well. The only penalty that does matter as it stands is Viral's 6th second, as it could cost him if Mihai gets within 3 seconds of him, which is looking not unlikely. He's got 3 laps left to catch him. And he needs 2.5 seconds on a 13-lap tire advantage. As Jules Valentine gets another track limit warning at the final corner, just ever so slightly cuts it. And that is him up to 6 seconds. He definitely did cut it, so it's fair enough, but that's a big shame, as that will cost him the place against Maxi. But overall, I mean, he'd have a win in the sprint and a P5. He won't be unhappy with that, I would say. And he should be safe from Marcelio and Oweis in behind. Bazooka also will run out of time before he catches this train. So he will bring the car home in P8, I would imagine. And And Mihai has gapped Jills Valentine from DRS, which is quite crucial for him. Doesn't have to worry about being re-overtaken and held up by Viral's teammate. So this is a straight race and a straight fight to the end between Mihai and Viral. 2 seconds that Mihai needs to gain in the next 2.5 laps. Can he do it? The race win looking firmly in the hands of Flavor, 7.5 seconds clear, and with penalties over 10 seconds clear of the entire rest of the field. He's done a great race here to get himself another race win and a big gap. Not big gap. Viral's second would mean the gap is 9 points. Viral's third mean the gap is 12 points, so a larger gap than he's previously had. Heading into the last 2 laps of the race, Maxi in the S-Range to Jills Valentine, the battle out on track for 4th. Otherwise, he's catching up to Marcelio here. If we look at their penalties, this battle will matter. 20 lap old hearts at this point. They've got another 3 laps actually left to go on those tires. So by the end, will those tires still be in condition to drive on? I would really like to know the tire wear numbers. It's a shame I've not got the telemetry data for that. I think I could set it up somehow, but I'm too stupid for it. I tried, I couldn't work it out. So unfortunately you won't get any data like that from me. And Mihai, the gap to Viral down to 3.8. Closing in more and more. And he's looking very, very likely to get within 3 seconds of him and get that second place in this race. He would still lose out 7 points to Flavors, but he would limit damage there, and he would gain on Viral. Jills Valentine and Maxi very close together here. Always now in the S-Range Marcelio as we enter the last 2 laps of the race. Flavors over the line for lap 27. What confused me is the lap counter changes when the leader crosses the line. It should change on the top left. Like, for example, right now Marcelio should be lap 26 and Maxi should be lap 27 already, but it's not that way for some reason. It used to be that way. I'm not sure why it always shows the leader's lap counter now. It should show whatever's lap counter you're on board with. So if I go to Edwin or Brian now, it should show lap 26 still, but if I go to, yeah, it shows lap 27, even though they are clearly not over the line yet and they are still on their 26th lap. That's what confused me earlier as well, when I thought it was 2.5 laps to go, but it's actually 3.5, I think. Because Flavors had already crossed the line, while the people I was on board with hadn't. In this battle between Marcelio and Always, the only one on track that actually matters is Maxi, and Jills Valentine is already decided in terms of track limit penalties, but still, Maxi is about to make a move, so we'll have a quick look at that. As he's got the straight line speed advantage with the DRS opened, and Jills Valentine, he's gonna try and hold on against him around the outside, but not too much so. Of course, he knows as well, this battle, not a smart one to fight, only risking a crash and risking more time loss. Might as well just let Maxi go, since he's got you anyway. Mihai now within 3 seconds of Viral, and still with a lap to go. I think it's very unlikely that Viral gets him back outside 3 seconds. The tire advantage will not swing back in his favor, that the hards are way too old for that to happen. Normally I would say maybe that's a consideration. The mediums, you know, wear out and then the hards actually come back into their own. But 22 lap old hards are not coming back into anything, apart from puncture range. And as we enter this last lap, Flavors 7.7 seconds clear, out in front. What a drive by him. Starting in, was it P6, the lowest of the title contenders, and he's the one who made it work in the end. He's the one who's going to take home the full 25 points for this race. Fast lap race, I think, goes to Mihai, so he'll get the bonus point. Yep, Mihai, of course, on that two-stop strategy, having a great chance to do it. Jills Valentine, big shout out, a great race by him. A P1 in the sprint and a P5 in the main Grand Prix. 22 points total to him. So we go on board 2 Owise. He is close to the back of Marcello, but a bad exit there, bit of wheel spin. Marcello could hold on against him here. Flavors coming to the last 2 corners. We're going to have to change camera in a bit. Owise though with the run on Marcello. Let's quickly still see this battle through to the end. Marcello can't go for the switchback. Owise has got him, and then we go 2 Flavors into the last 2 corners for his well-deserved victory number 5 this season. And the championship lead extended to 12 points over Viral. Flavors is your winner here at the Circuit of the Americas. Viral will finish in 2nd on track. His penalty will put him behind Mihai, who made a 2-stop work to absolute perfection. A tough spot for him with a bad timing for a safety car, and he came back to a great 2nd place, the maximum he could have got really after that. Then Maxi brings the car home in 4th with Gilles Valentine in 5th. Always gets Marcello on the last lap for P6. And then Marcello in 7th, followed by Bazooka in 8th. Yeah, by 4 tenths actually, almost got him on penalties. Edwin, I think, will hold on to 9th, and if he avoids having another track limit penalty at these last 2 corners. So 2 points for him and for Ferrari, and then Brian in the McLaren. Although actually Edwin is on AI, he might actually chop 15 seconds to Brian, or within 15 seconds to Brian on this last sector. We'll see if Brian can get the 9th place off him. Not quite, I think. Yep. So Edwin in 9th, and then Brian brings the car home in 10th for the final points make position with Action Rick, Harley, Dylan, and the Kaiser having DNF'd early on in the race. And that puts an end to our 2nd of 3 sprint races in Division 3. Like I said, we've got 1 more sprint coming up at the 2nd to last round of the season in Abu Dhabi. And seeing how they have gone so far, I'm quite excited for that. Flavors back on the top step of the podium. Him and Viral have been swapping trading the race wins in the last few weeks. They've been in great form. If we have a look at the results the last couple of weeks. The last time the driver not named Flavors or Viral won a race was in Singapore when Mihai won. In fact, there's only been 4 race winners this entire season. The only one not of our top 3 drivers in the standings, Flavors, Rival, and Mihai, has been Edwin back in Azerbaijan. So the 3 of them have been quite dominant this season. Aussie actually hasn't won a single race, still in title fight, surprisingly. Although now the gap to Flavors opening up by 25 points in this race, and then P6 in the sprint means another 3 points, so 28 points. The gap actually has doubled. Previously it was 27, so more than doubled. So Aussie probably out in title fight with that, unfortunately for him. But he had a valiant effort. And missing a sprint can be very, very detrimental to your season, since you have 2 chances of scoring points. We have got, of course, another sprint tomorrow in Division 2. Excited for that one as well. We'll have me on comms. And we'll get to see it all over again. The grid for that looking very, very interesting as well. Maxi on pole position, who had great pace today, so he's definitely one to look out for. Akozin in 2nd, then Owise. Sully up in 4th. Viral in 5th. Then Bazooka, Papdog, Ewek, Bobardino, and Phantom round to the top 10. And then we have our title contenders, Kuko, Gabri, and Sean in 11th, 12th, and 13th. With a new driver in DVK, which joined, I believe, 2 days ago. His first race in the league, so he is starting from the back of the field at the Division 2 COTA Grand Prix. That's all I have to say. I thank you very much for tuning in today. Thank you very much for watching. Of course, Saturday as well, the Division 1 sprint at Texas, where I'll be starting from near the back as well with the championship rival kart racer with... I haven't worked out the grid for Saturday yet, so I can't tell you everything, but of course, the fast guys at the back. It's not that complicated. Next week, we're going to Hungary, the Hungaroring. Round 13 of the season. We've got another 6 races now left to end this season. And we are really, really having an awesome title fight here in Division 3. 3 people, all very much in contention. Flavors and Viral, the 2 drivers in the better form right now, I would say. But Mihai, do not count him out. He's been up there still, even in his bad run of form right now, of today, wasn't a bad race from him at all. I would say not a bad form at all. It's a bit unfitting what I'm saying there. Just he hasn't won a race in a few weeks now. But today was a great race by him. Just unlucky, starting on the hards and then early safety car. It's always the worst possible scenario to be in. But he, like, recovering to second place is mad impressive from that. Actually driving away from the field on those used hards is something I didn't expect. I thought he'd like drop to like fifth, sixth, and then make his pit stop and maybe scrape some points from that. But no, he actually finished an amazing second place, and that's the kind of drives that will keep you in the title fight and that will give you valuable points. The races where you win championships usually are not the races where you just kind of drive away and win. That's easy. If you're just faster, you're faster. But the races where you have like some shit happen to you, where you get unlucky, and you still get results, that's how you win championships. You have to overcome the bad luck and the bad strategies, because that's going to happen to everyone. And what you make of those situations is what makes championship winning seasons, or at least championship challenging seasons. So now Miai has kept himself well in the fight, and I believe Hungary's been a great track for him. So we'll see next week if he can fight back and yeah, end this domination that viral players have had in terms of the race wins for the last couple of weeks. Finally stop them swapping between each other. Maybe someone else wants to go for once rather than those three. Um, yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'm gonna turn off stream now and head to bed. And goodbye, everyone.